Every organization has this official blueprint for how information is supposed to flow. But then there's the reality, how communication actually happens, in the hallways, over coffee. Today, we're going to peel back the layers on both. We'll look at the official plan versus the hidden and often more powerful reality of how things really get done. So, let's dive in. So let's start with a foundational idea from Adler. The whole point is that communication isn't supposed to be random. It's meant to follow these structured, regular patterns. Think of it like a city's road system, right? It's designed to keep everything moving, predictably and efficiently. But here's the thing. What happens when people decide to take a shortcut through a field? Or when a rumor just spreads like wildfire, totally ignoring all the official highways? Well, that's where things get really, really interesting, because the official map is never the whole story. Okay, so let's start with that official map, the blueprint. This is what we call the formal communication network. It's the system that management designs to keep everything neat, orderly, and under control. You've all seen it, right? That classic organizational chart. The pyramid of boxes and lines that shows exactly who reports to whom. Well, that chart is the formal network. It basically says that information has to travel through official channels, things like memos, company-wide emails, and scheduled meetings. Now, inside this blueprint, information doesn't just float around. It travels in three very specific directions: up, down, and sideways. Let's break down what each of these flows really means for an organization, because they're all super important. Upward communication. Put simply, this is you talking to your boss. And it's way more than just, how was your weekend? We're talking about discussing real work problems, pitching a brilliant new idea you had, or even just sharing how you're feeling about the job. It's that critical feedback loop that lets the people at the top know what's actually happening on the ground. And this is where it gets tricky, right? There's a real delicate balance here. When it works, it's amazing. Managers get these incredible ideas from their teams and they can solve problems before they even get big. But there's a flip side. If a manager is just getting bombarded with problems from below, they can get overwhelmed and might just flip a switch to a my way or the highway approach just to get some control back. Next up, downward communication. This is the classic top-down stuff. It's your manager giving you instructions, the CEO sending out an email about a new company policy, or getting your yearly performance review. This is how management steers the ship. And man, this really is a double-edged sword. When it's done right, with really constructive feedback and clear info, it makes people feel valued and morale goes way up. But when it's done badly, it can be a disaster. It can kill confidence with destructive reviews or just bury people in a flood of messages until nobody knows what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, this one's easy. This is you talking to your peers. It's the marketing team syncing up with the sales team or two engineers hashing out a problem. This horizontal or lateral communication is absolutely essential for coordinating tasks and, honestly, just for building the relationships you need to get work done. So this is the secret sauce for teamwork, right? It gets everyone on the same page, pulling in the same direction. But you know what happens when you put a bunch of smart, ambitious people in the same room, right? You get friction. Ego clashes and different ideas can turn productive collaboration into a bit of a turf war. Now, that traditional blueprint we've been talking about, it's not set in stone. Not anymore. In fact, it's going through a massive change in the modern workplace. The old pyramid is getting squashed. Think about those old-school mega corporations. They had just layers and layers of management. You reported to a supervisor, who reported to a manager, who reported to a director. You get the idea. In that world, it was all about vertical communication, up and down the chain. But fast forward to today, and technology has totally changed the game. With things like Slack and instant messaging, a single manager can now effectively keep tabs on a much bigger team. And because of that, a lot of those middle layers of management, well, they're just disappearing. And here's why that is such a big deal. Fewer layers means more empowerment. People at lower levels are now being trusted to make their own decisions. And that shift makes horizontal communication, that peer-to-peer talk, more critical than it has ever been. It's less about command and more about collaboration. Okay, so we've got the official blueprint down, but now we're going to go off-road. Let's explore the unseen reality, the stuff that doesn't make it into the employee handbook. Let's talk about the informal network, also known as the Grapevine. The Grapevine doesn't have an org chart. It's totally organic. It's built on friendships, who you eat lunch with, and what you're interested in. It's the real talk that happens in the break room or at the company picnic. It's completely free from all the formal rules and hierarchy. Now, it is so easy to write off the grapevine as just office gossip, right? But that is a huge mistake. It actually has some seriously powerful advantages. Think about it. When there's a crisis and the official channels go silent, the grapevine fills that gap. It's how people figure out if that company memo is telling the whole story. And it moves information at lightning speed, way faster than any formal announcement, all while giving employees a real voice. And the best part? It's free. So what do we have? We've got this rigid, planned blueprint on one hand and this wild, unpredictable reality on the other. The most successful organizations don't see them as enemies. They know you absolutely need both to really succeed. And this table just lays it all out perfectly, doesn't it? The formal network, the source is management. The channel is official, the speed is slow, and control is high. Now, the grapevine, the source is anybody. The channel is social, the speed is super fast, and there's almost zero control. They're like perfect opposites. So what does this all boil down to? What's the big takeaway here? It's this. Smart managers do not try to shut down the grapevine. You can't win that battle. Instead, they accept it. They know it's a natural part of any organization. Their job is to make the formal network so trustworthy and so transparent that it becomes the go-to source for reliable information. And that leaves us with one last thing for you to think about. In your own world, at your job, in your school, your community, where does the information that really matters come from? Is it the official announcement, or is it the whisper from a friend you trust? Which network really runs the show?